Okay, everybody, we're going to give this one more go. I have no idea because it was absolutely fine yesterday when I did this as a bit of a tryout. And today it doesn't seem to be working. So we're just going to give it one more go. And if it doesn't work, we're going to just hop on Zoom and record something for you. So let's have a look. Just work, Lucy. It might just work. It says it's adding you. Are you there? Oh, yeah! It will not be defeated.
Nice.
Hi, gorgeous.
Hi, lovely. I think it was literally just because I was watching on my laptop and not on my phone, so that was totally my fault as well.
Never mind, we made it. Oh my goodness. This just goes to show how much we need to talk about what we're talking about today, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly,
Oh
exactly.
my goodness. So for anybody that didn't catch us the first two times round, and who is going to catch us now live, and for those catching it on the replay, just let us know if you're catching it on the replay. What the heck are we doing here, and why are we doing all this messing around? Today is an auspicious day. It's a big day, isn't it? We've got a lunar eclipse, and I talk quite a lot to my group about lunar energy. I have a real thing about lunar energy, and they ask me about it a lot, Lucy. They ask me to explain more about it, like what is it, how does it affect us, why do I put so much store by it, and why do I throw out all these kind of hasty messages when we have some sort of lunar activity. And it's because I know that it has a huge effect on us and our energies and our lives, but also can affect our businesses as well, because of course it's all intertwined. So I'm by no means an expert, so I am so grateful for you. Thank you for coming in to do this, because everybody, Lucy is the expert. I'll let Lucy introduce herself in a minute. This is my gorgeous friend and peer, I guess, Lucy Brand, and she's an expert healer, particularly around love and money. Now, who doesn't love and money, and who have needs and desires around love and money? And Lucy is definitely the expert, but she also is the person that I learn most of this stuff from, that I go to say, oh, there's something happening, something planetary happening. What does it mean, and what do we need to do? So thank you so much for this. Is a real kind of last minute one, isn't it, Lucy? But thank you so much for giving up your time to do this. And I'll just give over to you to introduce yourself initially, and then if you don't mind, I'll just ask you a few questions on behalf of everybody.
Of course, yeah, thank you. Thanks for that lovely introduction. No, it's a pleasure to be here. Like, for me, it's more of it was more of a hobby that's just like I've always been fascinated with the planets. I've always been fascinated with astrology. And I find that you're right, it does affect our lives and businesses because they're so intertwined. When you have your own business, and particularly the work we do, that is you. You put yourself out there. So, and especially with love and money, if something's not working in your personal life, the chances are it's being reflected back to you in your business as well. And really, it kind of went up a level for me in terms of astrology maybe 2 years ago, I think. And I was on the hunt to find some new friends. Because, as you know, it can be quite lonely being an entrepreneur and working from home. And I just felt, that I needed to put some roots down where I currently moved to. And so I joined this moon circle, and it was like I found my people. I remember coming back that night to my husband, and I was like, I finally found my people. Yeah, and it's given me so much. I can't express how much this has enriched my life and my business.
Wow.
And for me, it's not just about the astrology, it's about connecting to yourself, connecting to your dreams, connecting to your business, sharing, because now that moon circle ended, so me and my friend, my moon sister, we've carried it on. It's just the two of us, and we regularly meet twice a month because on the new and the full moon, which they tend to happen every 15 days. Um, and it's just a sacred space. It's become a beautiful ritual where we can share what's going on for each other, in our lives, in our businesses, and then depending on what season I guess we're in. So if it's a new moon, that's the best time to plant seeds of what you would like to harvest. And it depends with the eclipse. This was kind of looking at the next 6 months. That's why it's kind of a big one. And when you look at, I'd look at starting planting. Well, if it was a new moon, start planting seeds for the next 6 months. But when it's a full moon, it's about what would you like to release? What would you like to let go of? And because when it's a full moon, like it kind of illuminates perhaps bits that we don't really want to acknowledge. Or it's highlighting something that perhaps has been a bit of a challenge that now needs to release so you can move forward in life and business. And so I recommend it as kind of a practice. It's such a nourishing thing to share with someone, as you know, what's going on, and also it gives me the opportunity to review what's happened. And I think that's really big because in this day and age, especially if you have your own business, it's a long to-do list, which normally doesn't get done by the end of the day, the week, the month, the year. And so perhaps your personal time and the time to connect is low down the list. And this gives me a chance to review what's working, what's not working, what's in alignment, what is not bringing me joy and I need to release. And looking at it from an astrological point of view and what's going on in the sky, then it can kind of help me because depending on the different planets or the different star signs that we're in, they highlight particular aspects of your life or feelings or emotions or characteristics and stuff like that. So it kind of working with it helps you release and then also helps you build, like plant and nourish seeds.
Wow.
As well.
That's such a beautiful way to put it, because people say to me, so why does the energy of the moon have such a bearing on us and our energy? And of course it's, I always explain it in terms of the tide, because of course we're sort of 90% water as beings, as physical beings. And of course, if you look at what the moon does to the tide, so if you can do that with the oceans, imagine what it can do to us, positively and negatively, if we're not careful, if we don't protect and understand and prepare for it. So is that right?
I think also to add to that as well, if you think, yes, I think also to add to that as well, for the concept of we are all one as well. So we are one with nature, we are one with the universe. And I remember seeing about, it must have been years ago on Facebook, the human body at a microscopic level. I don't know what level it was because it was just a fleeting video. And we look like we've got the universe within us. Like if you scale it right back, it almost looks like planets and like an entire universe. And so if you think that we are all one, then whatever's happening with a massive planet like the moon, and like you said, we're 90% water, it's going to affect us, like energetic shifts and changes. And it's also something that's been studied for years. The ancients, like ancient civilizations, studied it and lived their lives by it as well. So it's not, I think, like it's such a beautiful long tradition that it's one worth cultivating. But I'm thinking about this last night when you asked me to share this. I think the thing that sometimes that I really want to make a point on is that for me, astrology is like oracle card readings. And you could pull the same card as me, but it would have a different meaning to you as it would to me because of different things that we're going through in our life. And I think that astrology needs to be kind of looked at in that same way, where it's kind of what does this mean to you personally, like an oracle card reading, rather than this is going to happen.
Right. Okay.
Because you know, we create our realities. And there's sometimes I get a little bit when I read it, because I tend to just pick like from loads of different astrologers. And if I read something and it's like, oh, it's going to be a terrible month, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, there's hellfire and damnation. And it's just like, well, if you believe that, that's you create your own reality.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm very careful as that it's a nourishing and positive experience and inspirational rather than negative energy, because no one wants negative energy. But
Yeah.
I'm not sugarcoating it and saying that, like, you know, we never have any challenges and don't have to go through any transformation. But working out where the planets are can help you with that transformation.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a really good, two really good points there, actually, because I didn't realize till you pointed it out yesterday just how much, when you read astrological predictions, particularly around times like this of eclipse, and I think we are coming into a Mercury retrograde. I think you were right.
Yeah.
And it is all a bit doom and gloom. I hadn't realised that it's all about sort of watch out. There's big energy, and that all kind of makes us want to run and hide under the duvet, doesn't it? But actually, if we can harness this energy, we can use it so powerfully, can't we?
Definitely. And that's like a big thing. Like, I don't want to instill fear in myself, you know? Like, getting out of your comfort zone can cause enough fear as it is. Like, you don't need someone else adding to it. And I read something by another astrologer, and it was just about, oh, it's going to be terrible this month for your finances, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, but no, like, because you have the power to shape your own destiny. Like, you choose, you decide. So just decide that that's not going to happen. But I think, yeah, it's putting, for me, it's putting too much stock in someone else's beliefs. Like, you know what is true in your heart. Like, if someone says something and it resonates with you, you immediately know what that's about. Then someone could say something and you're like, I don't think that's relevant to me right now. And I think it's taking that and not just being like, oh, this is going to happen. Oh my gosh, button down the hatches. I'm not going to speak to anyone for the next month.
Yeah, we're using it as an excuse to procrastinate and just go and hide and eat chocolate for a week.
Sorry, I missed it there, lovely.
Not using it as an excuse to procrastinate and just go
Yes.
and
Oh my
hide
gosh, yeah.
and eat chocolate for the week. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So what I mean, you've explained beautifully already sort of why we should take notice of the energy of, particularly around lunar activity. So what specifically is this one that's just about to happen? What is it, and what does it mean to us? And I know I'm totally with you, and I totally get you when you say, you know, we need to sort of, it's like anything, isn't it? We read a book and we decide what we want to take from that and what we don't. We just we might all implement what it teaches us in very different ways. We can do training. You know, I've done tons and tons of trainings, but how you implement that and what you do with it is different for everybody, isn't it? But to have the knowledge is amazing, isn't it? And I know a lot of people in here in my group have a little bit of knowledge about this kind of thing, but maybe not enough to be confident in knowing what to do with it. So what is this movement that's happening today, and what should we do to prepare, and how can we sort of capitalize on it, I suppose, positively?
Yeah, well, I think this is, for me personally, I believe this is a really positive time and really, really exciting. So this is an opportunity to let go of everything that's not serving you. So looking at the bigger picture, the full moon is currently yeah, it's currently today. There's full moon eclipse today. And it's currently in Capricorn. And so Capricorn is all about rules, structure, processes, career, money. I kind of see it. I don't know if this is what should be said, but I kind of see it as a masculine sign. Um, and so, yeah, you've got all these rules, structure, and Capricorns are brilliant. They'll do a job, they'll get a job done, and it'll be done really well, and they'll be very successful at it. But we're in the month of Cancer, which is all about the crab, and it's all about emotions, and it's about the sea, because the sea is kind of a body of emotions, really. So water again. So with the crab, it's all about, like with Cancer, it's all about home, nurturing, love, emotions. It's a lot softer. So the way one astrologer spoke about it, which I really love this analogy, was like Capricorn has the really nice house, the fancy house, and it's the dinner's on the table. But the Cancer brings the family, and the Cancer makes it a home. Like, and I really love that analogy. And so what's been happening is for the last several years, we've been building these structures and these processes and these rules, and they've kind of been to protect ourselves, really. But now with the Cancer coming in, it's like these rules and these structures that I've built aren't fulfilling me anymore. Because it's not come from a place of heart, it's not come from a place of soul, it's not lighting me up. It's almost like these structures that you've built to defend yourself, to protect yourself, are not real, because you found out they're hollow. And so what's coming in is like the Cancer's like, how can we build more heart into this? How can we build more soul into this? What are my desires? What do I really want? And what am I doing? Because so the other thing with Capricorn, it tends to be a lot about social status. So like the nice big house and the nice area and the nice car, and how many people are following me on Facebook or that kind of thing. So which is great, but like with business, like what the Cancer then brings in is this softer side. It's like, well, actually, it doesn't matter how many people that are following me. It's actually, are they the right people that are following me? Are they the people that I want to serve? Are they the people that are actually I'm going to help change their lives, transform their lives? And so it's kind of this shift, which is happening anyway, because we're moving into the age of Aquarius. So everything was very masculine rules, structures, and now we're softening. We're moving into the age of the Aquarius, which is all more about thinking on a shifting to love, really, and a conscious level of coming to look to our neighbors and we are one and things like that on a planetary level. So yeah, it's about what's no longer serving you. What rules or structures have you built which you now aren't serving you? And there needs to be more heart and more love and more emotion, and it needs to come from here now.
And is that I think that just say hi to Karen's here, Lucy. Karen's watching. Hi Matthew. Hi Ruby. Great to have you here live. So I take that to mean that's not just sort of outwardly, but that's love and emotion for ourselves as well, isn't it?
Yes, because of where Venus is at the moment as well. So Venus is the planet of beauty, love, and money. So where that is at the moment, you might find that it's coming up. This is perfect for love and money, basically, because Capricorn's all about money. And then, like,
it's almost as if you knew about all this kind of thing.
I totally planned this. But yeah, where Venus is at the moment, you might find that relationships that you've had are now not fulfilling you in the way they once were. Because these structures and these rules, they fulfilled you for a while. They protected you, they kept you safe. But now when we're moving into this new paradigm and then shifting into Cancer, it's kind of it's like, oh, I'm not sure anymore because I'm not sure my needs are getting met. And the other side of this is that we have been, it's like we've been struggling and things have been hard for the last 9 years, and some people even the last 35 years. And you've kind of reached a point where it's enough. I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm done with putting up with all this stuff. I'm done with, you know, all this trauma and stuff. I want to move on from it. And one astrologer that I followed said that it was like you've kind of been going through all this trauma and stuff, and maybe you're on the other side now, but maybe you're not. But there's going to be a gift on the other side, because I don't, like when you've done, like for example for me, the healing that I had to do to get to where I am now, if I'd have known what I'd had to do at the beginning of the journey, I'm not sure I would have done this. Like, I'm not sure I would have signed up. But now I'm on the other side, and you know what, the work that I get to do is so incredible, but I wouldn't be able to do it if I hadn't done the work myself.
Yeah.
Now I'm like, oh, now I know why that happened. Now I understand. It's like the full moon's illuminating all this. It's like, oh, that's why that part was so difficult. That's why that part was so hard. And it's just about moving through it really, and watching these structures just crumble, which aren't
Yes,
serving you.
it's interesting, isn't it? Because our the fortress we build to protect ourselves can often become the prison.
Exactly.
And I suppose it's that time of breaking free from the prison, isn't it, then? And so we can use this time to, I mean, we can do this work obviously anytime, but if we can harness the energy that's around at the moment, that this is going to help us on that journey to help us to break free. We're getting some comments here from Lindsay. Hi, gorgeous Lindsay. She says this is so resonating with her because she's on the cusp. Capricorn and Aquarius she's on the cusp. So it's really resonating with her. And Ruby says, here, move on from the hashtag, move on from the trauma.
Yes, I love that. And I understand with the Capricorns because both my parents are Capricorns and I'm an Aquarius with Aquarius rising. So it's like my core value is freedom, whereas my parents is rules, structure, and money. So we looked at a lot when I was growing up. So I kind of see it in my parents, and just like I think with Capricorn, there's sometimes a bit of a struggle to show emotion. It's not that it's not there, but it's just like tapping into that, which Cancer will help because it's all about emotion and love. So it's kind of tapping into those emotions, those softer side, and your desires, really. What are your desires? What do you want? And not being afraid to release what isn't serving you anymore, not being afraid to change things up, because the thing is, as I say all the time, you're worth more than that. Like, you are worth the best life possible. Like, and it's there for you, but it's just about sometimes putting on your big girl pants and making that decision.
Yeah,
and that
but
choice
also
and committing to it as well.
Yeah, and showing yourself love and forgiveness, I think, because I think sometimes we can, particularly when we're women in business, we can get so in our heads and so process and structure driven that we forget about the passion that brought us to it, and we forget to forgive ourselves and nurture ourselves. And I'm always saying this, that we can become the worst boss we've ever had.
That's so true. That's so true. And I think that's, yeah, once again, tap into this nurturing side. My moon sister's actually Cancer, and her moon, so her sun sign is Cancer and her moon sign is Taurus, which is all very earthy and foodie. And whenever I'm stressed out, I just go to her house, and because they're about the home and they're nurturing. Oh my gosh, the most beautiful experience. So just like nurtured, and there's normally food on the table, and she's like, chocolate and incense burning and crystals around. So it's like creating that environment so you can thrive, really.
Wow. Lovely.
like from the inside out.
Yeah. So if we don't have a moon sister friend that is Cancer with Taurus, food is chocolate. How can we do that for ourselves? What can we do around this time now to really make a shift if we need a shift to happen, or to just hunker down and nurture ourselves? Or how do we know what we need to do, and how can we prepare for that?
Okay, well, first of all, I would say to create a little full moon ceremony. I can put my I've got a full moon ceremony guide which I can put below this video and share with everyone.
Amazing.
And it's just about taking that time to honor yourself and honor the moon and review, because this time, once again, like with the new moon is the planting of the seeds, and when you come to the a full moon, it's like what in the seeds isn't working, what is the full moon illuminating that hasn't been working when you set your intentions on the new moon.
So a bit like doing some weeding.
Yeah, exactly like that. What weeds do you need to dig up in your garden because it's not working? And so that's what I would use the time tonight or tomorrow. It doesn't really matter when you do it, in my opinion, as long as you do it, because it's still got the same, it's about energy. And so then creating that time and ask yourself the questions: what is not serving me anymore? What do I need to let go of? What's not making me happy in my relationship, in my relationship with myself, like in my body, in my business? Like go through everything. And then just set the intention to release it. And normally what I do, which I put in the thing, is I write it all out and then I burn it in my cauldron. My neighbours think I'm well weird. And
Great. I haven't got a cauldron, but I've got a fire pit. Will that do?
Yeah, perfect.
I feel like I need to get a cauldron though.
It is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Or you could use an empty plant pot as well. They work as good. And just release it. Let it go. Let that stuff go. And then think about what do you want instead? Because now you've released it, it's like you've got to fill it in somehow. So what would you like to experience instead? So if there's something in the love side of things that aren't working, what do you want? How do you want to feel? What changes, what shifts do you want to make? Because this is the perfect time to do it. Release it and welcome in the new. And then the same with the money side of things. What's not working? What does it need? What needs to change? Because we are in Capricorn, it's like we can build let the structures fall that haven't been serving us for the past however many years, but then we can build new ones with love, and build new ones with feeling and heart and soul. And so it's not about eradicating structure altogether, because that won't work, but it's about rebuilding them with your heart and soul, which serves you, basically.
So it's not about demolition, nothing drastic. It's just about allowing them to go if they need to. Just, I suppose, taking the ropes, taking the scaffold away and seeing what happens.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but doing that with love and kindness, because if you've built this structure and this way of being for a really long time, for years, then if you just take it away and it's almost like exposing your heart, you're going to be, there's too much. I can't deal with that. Like, it's too much. So maybe at this time, it is just a little bit of a time. The structure just comes crumbling down a little bit. And then, yeah, like, who knows? Then the house is there underneath. Like
the home rather than the garden. Yeah. That's such a beautiful way of explaining it. That's really lovely. That would be amazing if you could put that the ceremony.
Yeah, of course.
That'd be great. And I have a feeling that this kind of thing, I always feel like this kind of thing shouldn't be done alone either. If it's something that you're not familiar with, and it can be a bit, well, it can be a bit intimidating, I suppose, and it can be a bit weird. It can feel a bit odd. And particularly, I think if you're, which a lot of women in business are kind of process and systems driven, because we're taught to think that business works that way, aren't we? So it all feels a bit alien. So I always think it's a bit of a scary thing to do on your own. So if you can, you should get together with somebody and do it with someone. I think that's a great way for me to do it.
Definitely, and I've done it with people over the internet as well, with Zoom. Like I've hosted like full moon ceremonies and new moon ceremonies over Zoom, and they've worked just as well. People have had the ahas, as you know, sage smudge the screen and everything else, like, and it is about the energetic container that you're in, but for me, doing it with someone else is just incredible, because the stuff that you can't see, it's like working with a coach or a healer. The stuff that you can't see because you're blind to. And then the amount of times my moon sister said, well, and I'm like, that's not relevant to me. And she's like, what about that? And I'm like, oh yeah. Or like, because we pull oracle cards, I'll be like, I don't like that card. That's not relevant to me. She's like, well, what about that happened the other week? I'm like, oh.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just like, it helps illuminate once again.
Yeah, sometimes you need somebody to out you, don't you?
Exactly, in a loving way.
Yeah. Oh, well, that sounds amazing. So apart from that, is there anything that we should be aware of or that we can do?
I think, to be honest, I think it's maybe at this time in this full moon, it's being brave enough to go within and be honest with yourself and what's not serving you. That's all. And then you could look to the next, so the next time this will happen is in December, when we'll have the Capricorn and Cancer again. So kind of, I would look to what's not serving you in the long term. Like it might be like, this isn't serving me today, but what's not working long term as well to December, that maybe you want to, because perhaps something might be quite big and you make that decision, but you can't just drop it in a day. It might be something over the next 6 months. And if that then working out a plan to do that or implement that. If you're like, this structure isn't working, so I want to build a new structure with love that nurtures and nourishes my bank account and my love life, then start building that structure again to work towards December.
That's funny, isn't it? Because I put it as a post a couple of weeks ago that, you know, the Whitney Houston song, Step by Step. Like step by step, brick by brick, bit by bit. And sometimes that, you know, I think sometimes when we do things like that, we feel like we're not making real progress because we're so used to, so kind of indoctrinated to think that you have to make big changes overnight. But actually those each brick and each step is momentous progress, really, isn't it?
Definitely. And that's the same. It's like you've got to build a really good foundation and a structure. And so Capricorn's all about the structure and the rules, which is great. But then if you built this with in the sign of Cancer, in a home, like where your heart is, your soul feels at home and your heart feels at home and you're passionate, that's an amazing foundation to then build the structure around, because it's your authentic self. And that's what's coming through at the moment, is all this stuff that we may have been through, this hardship and stuff. What's emerging is our true desires and our true self and what we really want, and maybe even our life's purpose from all of this. And so that's why I feel it's a really exciting time. If you want to go all in and build new structures. But my own advice would be to just do an audit of everything that's perhaps not working, and then maybe pick one, possibly two things to start to change slowly over this next until December, really.
Right. So is there a time frame on when we should do this kind of intention setting and clearing out and things, just over the next few days, or?
Yeah, so I would start with the clearing out first, because that's on the full moon eclipse, which is today. We want any full moon, and then I'm not actually sure. I can tell you when the new moon is. I I probably should have looked this up. Oh, the new moon is on the 1st of August. So on the 1st of August, I'm afraid I don't know what signs they're in at the moment, but like on the 1st of August, I would look towards planting. What seeds do you want to plant? Like, what do you want to bring into fruition? And that, because we won't be in the eclipse anymore, I don't think. So then I would look to like the next month. What would you like to create in the next month? But for this one, it's like, what would you like to release over the next 6 months till December?
Fantastic. Oh, it sounds like a huge opportunity, doesn't it? It's like preparing the ground first, like preparing the soil, clearing
Yeah,
out, weeding, and then planting seeds, and oh, the excitement of that, all that coming to fruition and watching what grows. That's amazing, isn't it?
definitely. And there's this is the sky is like the astrology of it supporting you right now to just let these old structures and processes go. It's like I think like recently I've seen a shift as well in business. Like it's and some friends of mine they're putting on an event called Leading with Love, and it's just like I really see an emergence of that, like leading with love. So like, how can you lead with love in your business? How can you lead with love in your personal life? And just stepping into that and away from perhaps these structures which were built for like safety and security rather than being more open and connecting.
Yeah, going bravely. I mean,
Yeah,
that's another thing we're taught, particularly in the West, isn't it? To protect yourself and protect, then you go into work and it's all about protecting your intellectual property and protecting your heart. And really what we're doing is building such solid structures around all of that that nothing can get in, nothing new can get in. The love can't get in, can it?
exactly, exactly. And so that's why I feel like this is a really exciting time, personally. But if you want to read the stuff and it's like hell and damnation and want to believe that, that's great. But for me personally, I just think
No.
it's a really beautiful, exciting time. And you know, these structures and processes, they've served you well over the last few years. They've protected you. Maybe you needed those in place, otherwise you wouldn't have been able to go through what you went through. So it's not about, it's like releasing them with love,
Yeah,
like, and being grateful.
yeah, yeah, exactly. For the job that they've done, but their job is done.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're done. You're tired of not having a romantic, loving relationship with yourself or with someone else, if that's what you desire. You know, you're tired of not having the amazing paying clients. You're tired of like anything that you're tired or done with. It's got to go because you're worth more.
Oh gosh, it's so exciting. It's just packed
It
with
is.
possibilities, isn't it?
Yeah,
Tina's here.
that's
Hi,
it.
Tina. Gorgeous. So good to have you with us.
Oh, I see that.
Hi. I knew that you would put beautiful, simple, and incredibly positive slant on all of this, and I knew you'd help us all make sense of it. Thank you so, so much, gorgeous.
Welcome.
So if people want to get more of all this incredible knowledge, and more particularly, if they're, when we talk about, I know you do love and money mastery, and love and money are your areas of expertise, and you do it all in such a beautiful way. Um, when we talk about love, it's not necessarily like you've just alluded to. It's not necessarily about our relationships with others. It can be about that relationship, primarily about that relationship with ourselves, can't it? Apologies for the pooch.
I was like,
He's
oh,
agreeing with you. He's on
dear.
board.
Yeah, ultimately it's our relationship with ourselves. It's like that's what it comes down to with love. It's like how much do you love yourself to, I don't know what's coming through, take that bubble bath. Like how much do you love yourself to like charge that much for your services? How much do you love yourself to take that holiday? How much do you love yourself to have and believe that you're worthy and deserving of this fulfilling, romantic, orgasmic relationship, if that's what you desire? It's all about, yeah, your relationship with yourself and love, like loving yourself enough to honor your desires, really.
Yeah, well, until we've done that work, we can't have fulfilling relationships with anybody else, can we? And I know that's what your work is all about.
Yeah, I think it's definitely, although I have to say, like, I think it's a, there's two sides to this, because for me, from my experience, like, I was in a really, really bad place when I met my now husband. And so he was the one that taught me or showed me that there was something in me worth loving. Um, and so that's how I came to believe that I was worth something, or even worth loving.
Wow.
Um, because before I met him, I just didn't, and I didn't respect myself. I didn't like myself. So I think it can be both ways. Like, I always find that this thing where you have to love yourself before you can love another, I don't believe that's true, because who are we to put rules and structures around love? Like, who are we to do
Very good
that? Like,
point.
yeah. And I think, like, also the amount of people who have babies and stuff like that, I'm sure every mother in the world is not in love with themselves,
Okay.
but they love their child. And so that's kind of how, even my thing is, even if you're not in love with yourself yet, and it's an ongoing thing, like,
Yeah,
there'll be times I'll be like, I really love myself, and then times like I'm like, oh, that wasn't very loving towards myself. um,
totally.
but you can still find love if that's what you so desire, even if you're not in enlightenment or, like, in love with yourself.
That's a really good point, actually, because sometimes it just takes that person, whether it's in a loving relationship or a coach or a healer, but just that one person to see that light within you
Yeah.
and show you what can happen when you let it shine can make all the difference and teach you to love yourself, can't it? That's incredible. That's a really good point.
Yeah, that's kind of why the white pet crusades on the internet, when people say you've got to love yourself. I like leaving a comment
Yeah,
going, that's not my
I
experience.
know. And yeah, I've got a few of those as well. One of my pet ones is just do affirmations all day and sit around doing nothing, and then everything will just come and land in your lap. Let's not go there. So how can people find out more, particularly about love and mastery, or more about you? Where can they find you? Shall we put some links in the comments later?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put some links below. So I was going to do an offer as well for your life path design group. Um,
Fantastic.
Yeah, because Love and Money Mastery is 3 modules in now, but we've only had one group coaching session. Then I was going to do an offer of that bundle for £100, and I'll put the link below. Yeah, so that's it. And then I've also got my Facebook page and my website if you want to check out more of my videos. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Put all the details about all of that because it's such
Yeah.
a hugely generous offer. Because I know, and let me tell you, everybody, that I've been privileged enough to see some of the content of Love and Money Mastery of Lucy's, and wow. It's just incredible, and I just can't imagine the shifts that will happen on the other side once they've gone through the program. It really is something quite special. So we will put all the links here, and you can go and find out for yourself, and reach out to Lucy and have a chat if you want to. Oh,
Yeah,
thank you
great.
so much for your time, my gorgeous. It's been
You're
incredible.
welcome.
I knew that you would give us just beautiful, positive insights. That's exactly what we wanted. And hopefully everybody's going to come in and feedback on whether they do the ritual, the ceremony,
Yeah.
and what happens in the next few weeks then as a result of it. I'd love to hear feedback from everybody about all of that, and I'll pass it on.
Yes, please do. And if you want to know any more, or if I can help you in any other way, then please reach out, because I'm more than happy to talk. I love this stuff. I could talk about it all day. So, like, yeah, I'm just here to serve and help in any way I can.
Oh, thank you so much. Huge gratitude.
Bye.
And we will put all
Thank
the
you for
links.
having me.
You're so welcome. Thank you for being here. I'll speak to you very soon.
Bye, darling.
Take
Bye.
care. Bye bye.